Much of his work deals with the changing nature or the changing face of nature and the human condition. His talk will be based on his 2024 book titled Finding Your Quantum Sense: How to Enhance Mindfulness, Perception, and Creativity, which is the title of his talk. And by the way, I think he has some books available for sale, so if you're interested. So in this book, he argues that quantum sense, as he uses that term, is really common sense, that it is your spark of curiosity, adaptation, and change found in the unraveling of the universe and the mutation of neural connections that give rise to consciousness. So it sounds really quite interesting. So Robert, so yours.
Thank you, Daniel. It's my pleasure to be here today. I'll try to be last presentation of the hour. We have two presentations essentially about art as well. I think I'm actually about that. It's a complex subject that I tried to address in my book, Quantum Sense. But I think the way to approach it here for this presentation is to talk about art. By the way, forgive me for my voice, but I had throat cancer about several years ago, and every now and then it was south. So I'll do my best. If anybody doesn't understand me, then raise your hand. And I'll help you. Okay. So I've been an artist for about 24 years. I've been a full-time artist for about a dozen of those years. And prior to that, I was working in the corporate world and kind of discovering my art while I was doing that. I was doing work on history, Texas, and I got a lot of support. There's a great gallery group down there. So I was encouraged at that time to continue my work. So now I'm doing it for years of my life. All the art is presentation. So yeah, we can talk about that. Feel free to ask about that too. So why should an artist write a book or give a talk about the mechanisms that help human perception? There are three reasons that I can think of, and probably a lot more, for artists to discuss the roots of mindfulness, perception, and activity. Number one, artists are intimately involved in the creative process. And we're doing it, and that's really forward with it. Speaking for myself, I almost always into the state of life and flow, and the persona that many of you are calling for me, and they completely ignore in my work. That was how I basically involved in creative process. The two, artists want to keep persist to pay close attention to both nature and contemporary, including mindfulness and perception. Number three, everyone is an artist. Does anybody doubt that everyone is an artist? Okay, I'll say one thing. Why?
I don't think of myself that way.
Now, what do you do, sir?
Supposed to deal with math.
Okay. And that was like definition. Platform, large one, too.
What's your definition of an artist?
Well, I'm reading into that.
Okay.
What is art? Well, first of all, what do you all want? Communication. I would argue that we are all artists because, in fact, we're all trying to figure out, sort out what's happening to us and then respond to it in some creative and colorful way. And that's why I say we're all artists. I mean, it doesn't matter what the medium is, as long as it's malleable, something to work with. Then you're working with it, makes you an artist. Nothing like, okay, what is it? Well, the definition of the classic definition of the Constitution is imagination. Imagination is very important, especially in the direction of the state of objects. So you don't use imagination during that. I mean, what's your name? I would ask. Okay. Yeah, so absolutely. Right. So I think even by the Merriam-Webster definition of artist communication, like you said, artist change, artist creation and destruction, which I also refer to as chaos and order. Artist creative, artist transformational, artist unity and diversity. I'm trying to find that balance. Artist metaphysics, very much so. Artist language, artist drama, artist perspective. Art embraces the moment. I'm getting back to myself. And this book, the reason I wanted to write this book, the four things that was to talk about four things that have happening in the art. When you're being an artist or engaging in a creative process. We're striving to create an outcome. We're striving to see new possibilities. We switch into my life with a condition of being to a state of being. And we're living in the moment. At least speaking for me, that's the case. Yeah.
This is what by a condition versus state.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I mean, there are scientists in the room, and is one of them, right? I think a lot of people will say that in our waking state, we are participating with the world, seeing it, processing it, but we're largely processing it due to the conditions that we're and that's because the mental motif that we have in our heads, the structures that we create, help us to do that. Have to be constantly regurgitate information. So, we have a frame, an image, and rather than give that image much purpose, we just say, okay, got it. As far as what we built up in our heads already, and we're creating a construct, and that creates conditions that we live in. I think when you're involved in the creative process, at least speaking for myself, I start to switch how I'm perceiving that my reality, and I start thinking about my reality as being a state. Reality is not a state rather than something that's pliable, malleable, something that I can work with. And that creates all sorts of opportunities. And if you engage in a math problem or whatever, it creates opportunities that you might not see otherwise if you're thinking my word is something that you're simply living and participating in. Not really working with.
Yes.
Okay. Great quote. This is the second edition of this book. Some of you for this edition, I was able to slip in a quote. This quote was published by Yeshua Taylor, policy things just your just out of New York. This on a lot of TV, CBS, radio show, various places. So, but anyway, he said something during the CDS 60 minutes interview that was just like on my eye. He said, we are walking through the quantum computer, processing information with sometimes parallels and sometimes words. And that was exactly what my book was. So I would like to say that all communication starts at a subatomic level. When it undergoes some uncertainty, emerges a discernible quantum language that determines the manner in which subatomic particles and antiparticles influence atoms, which influence molecules, which influence cells, which influence the way life orients into atoms, which determines what the state of state and all life is embedded in this quantum entanglement. Quantum communication is the root of sensation perception, mental learning, and spiritual perspective. It's art for art. Art has changed.
Robert, before you go on, can you define a little, what is the difference between quantum language and just language by itself?
Okay. I'm going to get to that later too, but quantum language is due to both behavior, quantum, how they act, but more importantly, their relationship to each other. So, which is based on quantum entanglement. We have physicists here. Maybe I'll also this fall. They can talk in great depth, I'm sure, about quantum entanglement. But because of quantum entanglement, because it doesn't just happen with particle and antiparticle pairs, because it happens with all quanta everywhere. It in fact determines how life interacts with and that goes back to Yoshida's quote. It determines how life sorts out and lives in the universe. It's every part of the universe. Does that make sense, in terms of language? No?
Well, I guess I'm trying to think of language as a communication, right? Maybe two individuals, maybe three or four.
Right.
Are you saying that maybe quantum language is communication with just everything?
It's pure communication with a company. Without any structure, without any man-made structures. The math is a man-made structure. The written language is a man-made structure. It's man-made structure. Which is very helpful. A lot of this is to think and do in advance our thoughts. Well, it doesn't require any of those structures. It doesn't have to have any preconceived notions. It just does what it does. But that language is something that the human body can grasp it. So I'll give an example in my book about the olfactory senses and the fact that when a molecule enters the nose, lands in a receptor, there's not just a chemical reaction that takes place, it's not just simply, okay, the molecules land in the receptor, but it's also the molecule, once it's there, it's also a quantum signature that is transduced to the brain. And sight, photons are transduced in a chemical reaction to the brain. Those are forms of communication. Those are language that we're trying to sort out by living. Right? Does that make more sense?
It's not clear to me, scientifically, at least, that in fact, that sort of communication that happens when something in the world that it's such a very broad theory that the quantum entanglement person has to have any effect on what we end up with in our consciousness. And if that, because I sort of had this idea to get it really we haven't, we sort of look at these two worlds, but they don't have to connect in that way. And this quantum signature going somehow, becoming, I think, affecting my consciousness, is, relative to my knowledge, a rather radical concept, if that could just be one item.
Yeah, there's a whole field, being developed, you can Google it, called quantum biology. And so it's the intersection between quantum physics and quantum biology. And then, of course, there's a subsection, or rather, neuroscience would be a subsection to that kind of quantum biology. And how the metabolite brain, sorts out the quantum information through the substances.
And this is pretty well demonstrated scientifically now that that's happened.
Yeah, you read about it, and there's like I said, it's a very budding, area of science for quantum biology. Okay, art is change. So I'm just talking about what I know. I mean, like I said, what I really want to do is talk about what is the basis for creativity as an artist. So I'm just talking about what I know and talking about what is art. Art is also change. Art is learning that an observation of an object state is as valuable as the observation of the object itself. They learn to appreciate change because they see the chosen medium is when the state reflects. So it's again this perspective are exposed to a way of seeing reality that can be applied outside the studio or out of in everyday life. And back to quantum interaction. I don't know how much people know about complexity theory, but I think and this will hold it. We're looking at complexity, the vision science at the edge of chaos and at the edge of chaos. Complexity theory proposes, this is a quote, this is my version of what I say. Complexity theory proposes that entangled quantum forces in a scientific way, and self-organizes as necessary to restore equilibrium in the wake of imbalance. Chaos in order to transpire these particles and anti-particles entangled. Quantum fluctuations resonate throughout matter, including us. That is every level. The rate of all levels as certain effects. These patterns are sometimes called pure. Artists create a set of art to reflect on what they see as art. This is every much they themselves are art. Quantum fluctuations pass effortlessly through our bodies, similar to most biological responses. We're talking about that. And the form of perceptions, even our studies are fine-tuned by chaos and order as we interpret creation and destruction and display our findings. The golden ratio is a numerical manifestation of how nature informs our studies and choices in art. And I chose this as an example because it's an exact golden ratio. This, this area and this area, and this area and this area, those ratios are exactly the same. Ratio, which any sort of mathematician knows. Named after the first Greek letter of times over Vitus. Pi defines a point of which the ratio of the small part of the line to the larger part is the same as the ratio of the larger part to the full line. This ratio of 1.618 is how it's sprinkled throughout the universe, reading atoms and atoms in nature. A graphic representation of some of the things that happen in the golden ratio goes crazy. Each new length grows out of the old and unchanged proportion, thereby varying itself. Sometimes called the divine proportion. Pi sets the standard for cohesion, unity, temperature, when it's used consciously or unconsciously, like air, choreographers, architects, gardeners, plastic surgeons, and anyone else engaged in practice of this study. So, the golden ratio of structure of galaxies, by flowers, and structure of flowers, petals, and branches of trees, It's nature. Any questions? Well, hey, did they ask any questions while you were talking?
No, there have been no hands raised.
Creativity is life's way of working
with any medium to achieve artful results. Values, judgments taught by nature, their personal manifestations, the connection with one
and
forces
forces
harness them into art.
nothing
Positionless of chaos and order from the studies what's happening at the level. As we arts force make choices that directly affect the status quo of chaos and order. Balancing act between calm, turmoil, resistance, acceptance, and rejection.
Now, there are a lot of artists that do a lot of different things. The last presentation on Frida Kahlo was largely about Frida Kahlo and her political views, her feminist views, her views of herself, and the world around her. She saw the circumstances, and she thought that's what she painted as well. Other artists, any number of reasons. I don't start with anything in my head. When I think of this, which is actually very with a wide variety I had no image in my life other than I wanted to do some kind of historical. And then I got to the Las Vegas, and that's something. But I never started hanging with a very specific goal. Maybe I'm not unique, but Mark Rothko did that. There are others who did that who were very famous, but it's maybe a little bit unusual, especially in January, which is a lot of landscape artists and the basically introduced different.
You say that's created with fire and mixed media.
Yeah. And you can see the fire. It's burned. This is dry. All this. And some.
So you scorched it with a torch. Okay.
Okay, so artist creative. Creativity is actually working with any medium. Oh, I read that. Art creativity, sure. This is just acrylics. Every work of art contains a signature of quantum fluctuations passing through both medium and the host. The more the signature resonates in the work, the more now, in my some of these art because of the fact that I'm not trying to say and I'm not trying to express it. I'm trying to say anything about myself or emotions or anything. I'm just going to work with the material I have and come up with something new. And that's it. So that's kind of why I'm qualified to talk about creativity. You know, something just interested in process.
Maybe I should ask this question because I'm having a problem trying to reconcile the idea of we're sensitive to quantum fluctuations, which are natural, powerful things that nothing can stop, right? Because they're just interactions going on. And the idea that Elizabeth Gilbert says that the reason why people aren't creative is because they're afraid, they're feared. So how can fear affect these quantum fluctuations? I'm trying to understand.
Oh, I think fear will completely devastate.
What is it about fear that can affect basic quantum fluctuations.
Well, I don't, you're the neuroscientist.
Jamie, so I want to speak, most speak for you.
But I do think that, what the constructs that we create in our minds, and that are informed by quantum entanglement, that those constructs can create a lot of barriers to how we resist them and express and communicate them. And I think that's what the fear comes from. I thought, I'm not fear at all. I'm talking right now, you don't get worried. I'm talking about ideology. And how being in a creative state of flow allows you to break away from ideology, break away from the constructs of belief, create this kind of interact more intimately with the moment. Is that?
Yeah, I think I need to ask a question too, because I've been having trouble I tend to think about various levels of emergent organization, going from the quantum level up to a molecular level and up to cellular level and so on. And of course, there are interactions back and forth, but there seem to be some phenomena like fear, which arise at one of the higher levels, maybe.
Yeah.
And so, but how do you?
In the cognition.
Yeah, yeah, so, no, how does your framework view different levels, or do you view everything as one soup?
No, my framework is incident.
Okay.
So I wouldn't presume.
I just know how I feel when I paint.
Okay.
Or when I'm engaged in any creative process in the state of flow, which is a very specific state. I mean, brain image change and neurologic, very specific state. So, but how that mental interaction happens.
Okay.
I would love to hear.
I don't want to explain it for but I would say that it's not like the quantum level is being changed by the fear. It's that the expression of art or of the action being taken that's going to block. So fear has an incredible patterns. And that's just going to take no change with the quantum, but much change with the expression of that.
Absolutely. What to those or what to those.
That's right.
But everything, what's important to me
is how we respond to it.
I'm sorry, maybe you have a full description of your background. So I assume you're an artist. I also paint. And do you have a background in science of any sort?
No, whatsoever.
Why are you talking about, the quantum fluctuation?
Because I spent years and years
Of what?
learning about it.
What's your background?
I have an undergraduate degree and was a mixed degree in chemistry. Went to work in the corporate world for 20 years. Painted for about 12 years. And painted since I retired.
You talk about creation as being destructive. People talk about it as being,
uplifting and something that gives you a good feeling. When I paint, I have an extremely good feeling.
Well, the thing about a volcano, right?
I've seen,
It's creating new land mass, new bringing forth, new minerals. It's and all sorts of creative properties. It's also very destructive. So, but at the
Same time.
How is it, constructed?
Well, if somebody gets a path. Right. Yeah. Or, symptoms.
It's extremely destructive.
but I don't see it as creative.
Oh, you don't see any, middle versions, properties that are useful? What about land use?
I would say volcanoes are destructive, but for how islands are born.
Yeah.
Yeah, in millions of years.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why on earth, and that's not negative, but I think you get it. So like,
Please.
when thought comes in, they, right? So coming from that space, which I why on earth does your knowledge of quantum, how have you brought that into your notion of creation? Like, if you really feel like, I can know, I can appreciate you put the two together. Yeah, that's it. That's how it is for you. If you look at this, and you have to work with drawing experience.
Yeah, that's exactly. You answered your own question.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to make it real easy.
No, I did that, actually, I did a question on, and kind of connected with, what was that? And so, how did you come to these notions? Well, I don't think it's mystery, frankly. I mean, it's there for anybody to see. If they think about it, what I was really wanting to do, I have done for a large chunk of my life, is I've been interested in creative process. So I came to it from an interest in creative process. Yeah.
I need quite some time to give it in a creative process. I can put that together with the question I asked you.
Well, maybe I'm mistaken, but I think what you're asking is, how was it that you thought about quantum entanglement?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Relating that to, for example, relating, like, one of the things that I do in okay. And when I started reading about the insula, oh yeah, that's it. Insula, and somehow reading bioscientific facts, if you will, I connected that with my experience. How did I know it did. So that's what I guess I'm trying to get. So it wasn't like that for you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was kind of this makes sense, and I've been looking at it for a long time. And percolated upwards.
So there's two things that pop in my head, and I'm not an artist. Know very little about art history. Okay. And what's hitting my head is Picasso. And instead of destructive, deconstructive. And instead of chaos, because I have more science background, random instead of chaos.
Well, random is
interesting.
This is a whole other part of the conversation.
But out of that,
I think I probably can say I understand how concepts are. Maybe Picasso would make so. But I mean, as an artist,
I think we're into some of the same issues.
some of the same issues with respect to creativity and construction. And all I was maniac when it came to his willingness to look into destruction, what he can do. Eve Klein, there was a very, very famous artist, way underrated for all those things. A friend of mine was supposed to work with fire, but and so he was very interested in
The destructive process and how it can convert that into something creative, some kind of an art.
But you also have to take into account the mental stability of the person who's using it. A lot of people were not showing that they were creating. And so they
Yeah, sometimes artists have a lot of difficulty separating. You know, the way they deal with their art, the way they deal with
Their personal lives. Yeah, they say, well, it's something. So,
Yeah.
But I do
I think that there's a benefit of looking at the art. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's about the art.
Put it out there. And
Speak for itself. And people will
follow it or they won't. They're likely because
so, at least most, anyway. So,
does that make sense? Yeah, it's not. And I know, you know, maybe because of that, I don't have trouble disassociating myself from my art. Because my art was love. I'm not really asking all that much of it. I'm not asking questions about, you know, what am I trying to say? Are people interpreting what I'm saying? Oh my God, people are interpreting what I'm saying correctly. So I, you know, I'm upset or there's no like, oh,
I get
none of those things are factors. Because where I'm starting, there's a lot of artists who think of it. Let the work say what you have to say. Yeah.
When you're in the process of doing something, is it something like you just, like a shotgun blast, boom, and then see what comes up? Or do you feel some force or suggestion going, saying?
no, I don't feel any force that I wouldn't normally feel.
I mean, it's just a question of what my mind is.
Yeah, is your mind,
It's open.
giving, you know,
Yeah.
has some directional thing to it?
There's every different stuff. So,
On the right, Jim.
Well, flow is a state of, where you're basically being instead of trying to think about what it is that you do.
and there are lots of studies that the brain waves completely change when you're in. And,
So I think, well, you know, what I think I have, so when I have a bigger sense of other artists.
when they're the worth of where they're going from.
So,
Yeah, but at the very beginning, though, you had a slide where you said the four things. That was the first one being something about outcome. That as an artist, you need to think about outcome. So how does that fit in with the flow? Is flow the outcome that you're talking about? We are striving to create an outcome.
Yeah. I think flow is indicative of the strife, not the outcome. I think flow is indicative of realizing, hey, I can do something with this material that I'm into.
It's fair to say, Robert, you're not saying a specific outcome. It's going somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, maybe I should word that better.
Art is
Transportation.
obsession with
Transportation.
Alchemists, photochemists, along with physicians, priests, and artists, because of physical reality as a state of being rather
than a condition of being.
Art is unity and diversity. Myself, unity is peaceful and boring. There's an empty space, blank canvas, meaningless. Creation is the act of dividing, they think back to the volcano, creation is an act of dividing unity in favor of diversity, developing new borders that identify the individual as being distinct from the whole. Alternatively, destruction is the act of restoring unity, distancing borders that identify the individual as being distinct from the whole. Picture that in terms of life and death. Together, the application of creation and destruction represents successive change from one state to another, which I call unity and diversity, and back again. Artists experience the vision of unity as a final creative act that separates, and restoration of unity is the final creative act that unites. The creative process is a balance between inclusion and exclusion, convergence and divergence, integration and segregation, critical and discriminatory. Art is metaphysics. And I love this art. Or really being involved in creative. I think if you're involved in creative process, you are living the metaphysical lives. When I asked, there was a composition stand on stone. Was it resonating with nature? Was it resonating with faculties in any way? I am a de facto metaphysician, assigning either a positive or negative values of each choice in creative process. I know exactly borders in my studio that philosophers can only speculate about, and neuroscientists can only study. It's actually assigning substance, attitude, and non-attitude humanity, which is the definition of it. Our language, quantum fluctuations of source and its why learns how to function and communicate. Without that, whichever system is going to begin. So I'm basically saying, I'm taking the next steps, and I'm going to quantum is anyone that's teaching me how to live as my cells grow and as I figure out what's going on around me. And my mind is taking that and figuring out how to be and learning the society, the family. My mind is trying to figure out how to fit in more understandable concept. And so I'm saying that because that goes quantum entanglements, basically that's the first language. And the first Wide Web, right? And that World Wide Web is teaching us our minds to construct other processes now, whatnot, to continue to describe our world. Each iteration is not maybe from anyone program from hitters to personal decisions, to true nations, to self-awareness and identity, is an important aspect of in the sense that a cellular level art is the opposite because art interacts with quantum entanglement the way that language can't, like because language is just not a construct. Art doesn't have to be much. It can be if the artist wants it to be, but it doesn't have to be. So it's the kind of art I do. I try to minimize the amount of my own ego and my own input, and so just work with the medium. So the art of mantra has been for me, and really should be, in my opinion, for every artist, because the relevance of reality to nature is determined by the way nature processes reality. In other words, if it's important to you, how you're processing your nature. But, if it's relevant to you, that must be a reason why. And it's involved in how you see reality. Language operates with thought reality in an attempt to keep up life. But unlike the gap between reality and those existence of countervailing states and possible recognition. Only when states are observed and interpreted do they become distinguishable as conditions of reality. Distinction between thought and reality is usually two perception and limitations and language to the use of target. Art offers an opportunity to bypass the structures of language, any kind of language, and participate directly with beauty. To let reality act in the subject without relying on the reinforcements of our internal minds. Or as drama, or better be, it was going to be good. As somehow particles and antiparticles cartwheel from states of chaos and order to system antithesis, to use words of drama, on endless crusade for resolution, synthesis, and using drama, civilization becomes both host and narrator to the vast internet online, and otherwise unvarnished forces of chaos and order. Drama describes how we interpret verbal and quantum fluctuations as they pass through tissues of consciousness, both personal and collective, tension between pieces and anti-pieces, stress the elasticity of our senses, as yes and no collide, and to formulate our views, and how conflict was the fruit of the chaos of in action. It might be pretty easy for you to figure out this stuff and start thinking about how that applies to ideology. And all this is a constantly artist perspective. We're living in elaborate simulations by biological algorithms, absorbing and downloading information from our sensibilities. During the creative process, quantum fluctuations pour through our artificial perception, nearly unimpeded by mental resistance, shattering up the road working glass and allowing us to explore a very different kind of brackets. With matter in consideration, the state of matter in consideration, probable and pliable, something we can work with, something we can change, something we can create. Our embraces moment. Outside the black box of the brain reside only energy atoms, bringing this to our senses, to the color, sound, smell, taste, etc. The brain is usually busy putting on all the energy of the process of reality. During the process, the brain is free to focus, to consider processing power on the immediate issue, forging intimacy with the moment. When we spend at least some classes as there are sophisticated and they are dealing with the task at hand, improved rural efficiency translates into better processing, especially when you turn on perspective of time. And there's studies like basketball players who say, I'm not just a liar. So there's a lot of anecdotal information about that. There's also a lot of anecdotal information about people all times. Shifting on the way to see like that's realities. I think it's stupid because we go a long way and pretty close to knowing all the time. But you can learn more in my book. If you want to know more about any, you can scan this or scan the television scan and give full information. Time for open questions.
Okay.
Let me change the oh.
I'm still getting the screen share, yeah. Just go to the top of the Zoom screen and click end share.
We see it too.
Just go to the main Zoom projection screen, if you were receiving Zoom.
Well, just that.
Oh, okay.
What about meetings? We kind of, let's see, then
I think I just.
hide Zoom.
Let's see. No.
You have any idea what?
As I say, you have a completely different display than what I use right now.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, there.
There you go. Share.
Yeah.
And then.
How do I stop?
You don't want that, do you want?
If you're gonna share screen, you have to have both of them on. So you have the one screen.
I don't want to share. I want to get out of share.
Oh, you want that?
You don't want to. It's usually at the top of the screen. Or no,
At the bottom, there's a red box.
Oh, right here, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
And don't get rid of the owl.
Oh, wow.
Well, okay.
All right, here we are.
Okay. Well, does anybody have any questions on Zoom?
Zoom audience, if any of you have questions, just either physically raise your hand so I can see you, or click there's a button down at the bottom of your screen that would say raise hand. But you can just physically raise your hand if you have a question.
Well, we have a question.
One of the pieces of art that you showed that it was created in like 5 to 7 seconds.
Right.
I was curious with your artistic process, did you find that you finished your art in one sitting normally, or did you find that you come back to it a third time?
That's generous, it's probably that in 3 seconds, really, honestly. This is fun. But that was with like, yes, artists, yes, so 2 years is backing for, to paint over. And that was, yes, a lot of paper, just like this. So, you know, it could be very quick if you wanted it to be. But I mean, oils, it depends how oils are applied. You're applying the linseed oil. Yeah, you can work on it until they're dry. So you can work for quite a long time. Usually oils take, you have oils that take a month. You know, but the bulk of the work, and certainly fire, you know, working with fire, that was obviously instantaneous. And now fire is interacting not just with the, you know, the mediums of paper or the wood or whatever else is, you know, it's also for acrylics or oils or other industrial compounds that I don't really share with other people. So it can be very, very good. And so and I like finish that, but then go back to the painting and overpaint sometimes.
You said a lot of things that have great relevance to process. But process is the outcome.
Yeah.
What I want to ask about outcome. I'm guessing that you learned over time, more and more about what's been going on.
Sure.
Can you think of an example of a work where it came out differently because of the things you've been talking about? And it wouldn't come out that way earlier in the.
Oh, something in my art that I wouldn't have created earlier.
Yeah.
I don't think so, honestly. I think I think I've always approached art the same way. Which is very, very open-minded, open-minded. But I've also been always been very sensitive to the fact that it has to resonate, has to resonate with me. If it doesn't resonate with me, it's probably not going to resonate with anybody else. And if I'm lucky, it'll resonate with other people too. So, but those are the two kind of, that's the conflicting and constraining component, I guess, is the feeling like, okay, and that's partly why I brought up the golden record, is because there are natural ways, if you look at sand or rock formations or whatever, there are natural ways in which nature expresses spirit, and it does that largely through fire. And so, I had a pretty good idea of if it's resonating, because I have a good idea if it's coming from a part of nature that's in me, and my interpretation of it. But without so much of my constraints being on in my head. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think I've always been
Most artists study other artists. So I have questions. Have you studied different artists, and if so, which ones? And my second question is, I noticed that you painting metallics, and most of your paintings are abstracts. Like color. Have you ever done anything with
Oh, you mean the sculpting?
so that it's abstract, sort of like Picasso, abstract.
Do you remember the picture of Unity? So blue background, and then we have that head.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right.
That's the.
That would be an example.
But have you ever done anything?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you about corporate form, and there's another one called About this that has a figure of a man. That's one of the things.
Yeah, but you obviously feel comfortable with just
I still am conflicted by an emotion of wanting to say something.
Yeah, I have a girlfriend who's also an artist, and that's what she works with, but she uses digital means of producing a lot of her art, which
I think it's a little bit of a copy.
Yeah.
my first question was, have you studied other artists?
I have studied other artists in great depth, but not in this one.
But you try to imitate their, or a lot of artists do that.
Yeah, the artist that impressed me the most, and who I relatively loved the most, was Mark Lafayette. And he changed his views and the way he approaches art over the years. His art reforms, and he ended up becoming more and more abstract over the years. Until I found it was just doing fields of color. Which right. It's the most famous, most beautiful, most expensive form of forms of color. And he used to say, you can find everything I want to say, and between the layers of color that are many mechanics. So you just look at it like having a magnetic resonance that come off of it. And I did one work in the book that was kind of an honor to him. I've done a few others, but it's not really my book, and I don't replicate it. and someone else has done it. The other one that made me start thinking about fire was heat time. Heat time, YES, KL,
What's the first one?
heat. Yeah, YES. French artists and shit like that. Yeah. If you, I mean, if anybody has some questions, you can just contact me and I can go through any other detail about that too. But, you know, I mean, that, it's working with the medium that's that fluid. And seeing where it takes me was a very good. And, you know, usually most people say, well, it's the best work. And never learned. So, you know,
When you're painting, there's this blank canvas, you know, what's the first thing you do?
first thing I do is pick out the mediums that I want to work with. So,
Take out the colors?
yeah, I'll take out the color palette. A group of colors that I think what I'm going to be a good starting point.
You think about,
Yeah.
you think about how big it's going to be or
Oh, yeah.
whether it's going to be round.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I mean, so I work with paper. Paper is a wonderful adherent to flame. Because of our there's a smoky charcoal that we've got. And the charcoal, that effect can be quite powerful. If it's maintained. And or canvas, but yeah, you're gonna work with a certain size. And so, or I mean, also the conditioning, conditioning. If I'm conditioning a mural, you know, if it's excessively big, I might do a diptych or a triptych or whatever.
You plan,
Yeah.
or you plan as you go along.
Well, both, yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I think our basic color palette, basic mediums I want to use is I want to every medium imaginable that's in the art. Yeah, what I'm going to put it on to how they lay the color, is it color glass, is it just going to be displayed, how's it going to be framed? I don't think about all this in advance. Because, I mean, so that's what, you know, material, time, effort, expense. Art isn't cheap nowadays. You know, there's a lot of material to be raised. So, you have to be careful about what you.
Would you say that you're still self-taught, or did you go to class or other ways?
I think it's
To be, not me.
so I read a lot.
I wanted to go back one moment to the magnetic resonance. You've heard that phrase in terms of Rothko appreciating his own work or?
Commentary about this, how it's important to.
Yeah. I found that very interesting with regard to not only the artist, but the appreciator of the artist.
Yeah. There are people who, I'm old, I've never seen them, but I've seen a lot of artists. But there are people who cry, they break down and cry, looking at his work.
Yeah, I find that one of the most fascinating things that the about visual art in terms of how it evokes or induces a state.
So there's an argument that art is seen as beautiful, especially in forms, when they follow the golden ratio rule, right? But in abstract art, there is no sense of golden ratio. So what? Oh, there is?
Yeah, there is.
Oh, okay. So
It's there, it's because it's part of life. And yeah, I don't think I can separate that from my internal concepts. So when not concept, the girlfriend, Pollock, thank you. I was mentioning my peers. Thank you. Yeah, so when Pollock is doing his thing, you wouldn't think. Here's this free flowing, right? There's no form whatsoever. But you step back from the painting, And you'll find all sorts of golden ratio. It's just there, you can't mistake it. And if you want it to be good, anyway, or to resonate at all, then it's gonna be there.
Is there anything in sort of equivalent to the same measure of the golden ratio?
I should have told you. And I think almost everything is written,
So, no, I mean, you can think about that. That's fine.
Yeah, I agree, Ryan. It explains, when I, somehow, I'm sure that doesn't be what topics do the training. And I just let me, in your course, you probably you found that there was anything else in that great and powerful effect.
Well, that's probably the most important one, but it's not that I subscribe to the golden ratio. It's that the golden ratio subscribes to me.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And the other thing I can be proud of, the Zoom proud.
There's been no hands coming up, no.
All right, well, thank you very much.